This year it has been really trying hard to get into the yard. I haven't had a problem with it before, but just watch for
Pull
it.
those up when you see them.
I would highly recommend it, or else. So these guys, see, they're rooted in.
Awesome.
It would be better to dig that, really.
And you plant from seed? You plant your garden from seed?
Pretty much, yeah. Almost. Last year I actually I turned the dining room into a nursery and raised,
Sure.
everything, tomatoes, everything from, had my own seedlings, peppers, broccoli, all sorts of stuff, and that was really great. This year I wasn't sure that it made sense, and the house, I couldn't have a nursery.
Yeah, sure.
Showing the house and stuff like that. So, So I got seedlings in a couple of cases, but mostly it's direct sown right out here, like all those carrots. Deer have been coming this year a little bit. They haven't been here in a few weeks. I had actually covered a bunch of things. Oddly enough, they like the jalapenos.
Strangely enough,
they'll eat
funny.
at least the leaves. They were eating the flowers and the leaves, which means you get no fruit. So I had those covered up for a while. The carrots, they were eating those, even the tomato leaves a little bit, the fennel.
So I noticed it was those burlap things.
That was my sort of cheap and organic way of keeping the deer.
Where did you pick those up?
I got it's rolls of burlap. You can get them at either Home Depot or Merrifield Garden Center up on the corner.
And you used the wire things as like a trestle.
Yeah, to basically as a frame. So I had those two beds completely covered a few weeks ago. Well,
I noticed
until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, when we came to see it.
When you guys came, I can't remember whether it was,
So you just did that because you were.
They've been sort of leaving it alone lately. They live up behind the school. I see them on my morning walk sometimes, and they just sort of mosey on down and have salad. So, and I've never used any kind of repellent. I don't know. I can't give you advice about that. There are organic things. I think garlic. There's a garlic spray that I think might be a deer repellent. Not sure whether it repels deer or not, but that might be good to use.
You weren't doing that for the heat or any kind of thing for keep the sun off plants.
No, it's sun's good, and actually, the sun. I mean, that's very open weave. No, it's strictly for the deer.
Okay.
And I haven't had a lot of problems with insect damage, slug damage. It's just, honestly, in some respects, I'm kind of inexperienced because I just haven't had problems. So
that's
I had
good.
friends ask me, well, what do you do for, whatever? And I don't have them.
That's excellent.
So,
do you ever do any winter gardening or cold frame or anything?
I haven't. Excuse me. I haven't. But it would be the next step.
The next step?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. I mean, if I were staying, I probably would have invested in real row covers and, and tried to do it. You could easily, last year, a lot of stuff wintered over. It was so warm. And a lot of the herbs, I had cilantro, never died back.
Huh.
And then as soon as it started to warm up in April, the stuff bolted, before it was even warm, really.
Yeah.
The parsley never died back, so you really could probably, depending on the year, get a lot of. I've had maiche and of course soon it'll be time to plant garlic. There are things like that I've had through the winter, but no really winter gardening. But again, you really could. So this is a little. Messy. This stuff, the Virginia creeper, one of the better, more aptly named plants. It'll really, it's very pretty, and I like to sort of let it go, but you'll want to pull it back at some point, and off the house, it'll start taking over. So I've kind of left it for now, but because it does make a good ground cover, and I haven't, different parts of the yard haven't been planted as much because, we've only been here 4.5 years and we just never quite.
Sure.
So this area I would have liked to have done more. I've put some ferns. There are a few nice things in here. This is an obedient plant there. which is, I'll show you some blooming ones. These will start blooming. But this needs to be sort of neatened up. And there are berries over here. Oh, here's a bloom. See how different, that one's already gone to pod. But this is the same thing, butterfly weed, the intensely orange stuff. So this is a monarch host plant too. It's related to the milkweed. And I mean, this one is several weeks behind those over there. It's really odd how in the different zones, just even on this quarter acre. So this is raspberries that are getting rambunctious.
Oh my God!
There's a blackberry bush too in here. So I was trying. This was just an awful mess. All tangled up with non-native honeysuckles and porcelainberry and just all kinds of really aggressive, invasive stuff. So this has been a long-term project to get this under control. And then I was like, well, but I need to replace it with something, partly for privacy, but also for sort of wildlife corridor and all. So this was sort of food for all, us and the animals.
Yeah.
But again, it's a little unkempt.
Is that why you put the metal up?
That was to stop the mailman.
Oh, really? That's
This path
funny.
is the mailman's path.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what I found is that people just don't sort of see plants, and so I was putting all these, like, these baby plants in, and he was just charging right through.
Oh.
And this was really brushy actually, and he was just like charging right through the brush. And so I did that, and then finally we actually made him a path, and he loved it. One of the mailmen said, "Nobody ever does that for the mailman." Yeah, this is porcelainberry here. Now this got eaten by deer. You can see they really will. One thing I've seen, somebody who lives in the neighborhood who's a real gardener, and she lives in a more wooded part of the neighborhood, back in the back by the park. She's taken tomato cages and put them upside down over plants that she doesn't want the deer to bother, which I think is a great idea, and I just never got around to buying them. I think, no, that's part of the tree. So I get confused about these. I'm not very good on nut trees, but there's a hazelnut. These are nut tree seedlings. That and this. There's a hazelnut and a filbert, all native. They're all native, but I forget which is which.
Is that why you put the little blocks around them? Because that's a tree seedling?
Yeah, and also that'll just be a stick in a few months.
Oh, okay.
So, and you just, it sort of blends into the background. I mean, you've probably seen just in the short time you've sort of known this yard how much it changes. I mean, in the winter, it won't look like a jungle.
Yeah.
It just, in a few months it won't. Let's see. This is an elderberry, and that over there, the tall one next to the house is elderberry. These have been wonderful. I planted that one because it tends to be a very thirsty rooted plant, and we used to have a lot of water issue over here. When I bought the house, it was very damp on this side. When it rains really hard, it would sort of pool in here, and that's part of the reason for the dry bed stream, but also for the plantings I did there, was to sort of, soak up some of that stuff. And the elderberry has been great for that, but it's also a tremendous food plant. The catbirds raise their babies in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. Catbird babies are really cute. So, let me think. Yeah, so this again was kind of long-term cleanup. There's still some stuff, I would take out if it were me, but and attempts to put things in, but it needs some serious landscaping.
Anything
probably.
Particular you attempted to put in that you were hoping would flourish?
Would take off. Mostly stuff is done really well here. It really does. I mean, again, they're native, so they.
This looks like
one thing I wanted to point out to you is this. There's an outflow that goes over here, just so you understand the construction. This this area used to be very soggy, and so when we've had like the serious heavy hard rains, this will really pool up, and so this was a way of, and also on the other side of the fence, this was a way to sort of keep the water away from the house. My neighbors next door here, they're actually renting from the owner. They actually had water coming up in their fence last September, which we've had no issue with at all, and it's because of what we've done with the land. I mean, so stormwater is a real issue in the neighborhood, in the region, you know, all over. That, I'm so glad this is blooming. It's not looking its best, but this is, these flowers last for a day and a half. No more, no less. It's like a day and a half. This is swamp rose mallow. There's one in the back too that's a lot pinker. This one has gotten darker colored during its lifetime. It's a very ephemeral thing. So now you get to see it. And it has these cool pods after. It's a very cool looking plant, I think. So.
Sweet.
Are there any?
Yeah, it's really it's a beauty, I think.
Are there any pods that you have to remove from the yard when they fall, or no?
The only ones I would do is the milkweed, because they will be so abundant that, and milkweed is sort of a double threat because it spreads a lot by roots. You can see the next door neighbors have it marching across the yard. They've got a lot of my stuff marching across the yard, honestly. Actually, I need to tell you something about that too. So you've got it spreading by roots, and then you've got the seeds, and like a lot of seeds. I mean, they're the ones with the fuzzies that float through the air, they're like fairies, and the whole neighborhood will be covered in milkweed pods just from this yard, unless you get some of them out of here. Everything else I would leave, because I mean, at least if it were me, because it attracts the animals. I mean, and in fact, I would recommend that you leave stuff through the winter, because it's food. I mean, if you can stand the sight of dried stalks sticking up, I would wait until like March to do a sort of your fall cleanup. I mean, leaves, yeah, whatever, but the dead flower stalks and stuff, they provide a lot of food for the animals. Like these green-headed coneflowers, this is the common name is a coneflower. It's not really related to the purple ones. The goldfinch will be all over those once they dry up, when the petals go and the seed heads really form.
Are we talking about these? Okay.
Yeah, the tall yellow.
Yeah. Okay.
And those have seeded themselves all over the yard. These, I'll just tell you, let's see, this is a native azalea. Very pretty when it blooms. It blooms a little later than the non-natives, the usual ones you see around the cultivar. These three guys are pawpaws, which is, they'll get to be small, sort of tree-ish. I think they're classified as shrubs. This one got eaten by the deer, so that's why it's sort of oddly shaped. But they have a fruit. It's maybe about this big, and it tastes like a cross between a mango and a banana. It's delicious.
Oh, you can eat them?
Yeah, you can eat them. It's delicious. It'll be a few years before they're ready. I planted 3 because they need to. You have to have. I can't remember, monoecious or dioecious. I can never remember, where you need a male and a female to bear fruit. Most plants will sort of do it themselves, but others need. So with 3, you have a better chance. I mean, I don't know which is male and which is female, honestly.
Now, remind me, which one was the thirsty one that you planted over here?
Oh, that's the elderberry. This has beautiful flowers. And beautiful berries, but the berries are all gone. These guys don't even wait for them to get ripe before they eat them all. Elderberries, you can make wine out of elderberries too, but good luck getting them before the animals. You'll never get them before the animals. You can see the pink right there at the end of that branch.
Yes.
That's where the berries used to be. So it has a big white. It's an umbel. It's a head of lots of teeny weeny little flowers.